Welcome to Finding Stuff Out, where you ask me your burning questions of the... Where you send me your burning questions of the day. I search for the answers. Today, we're answering questions all about bugs. I brought this cool mosquito tank to show you, but on the way here, the door opened and they all flew away, except for one, which just won't leave me alone. Okay, first question. It's from Rim.
Are mosquitoes good for anything, or are they just annoying?
Well, I'm really tempted to say they're just annoying, but every question on my show gets a fair and proper investigation. And by the end of the show, I'll give you my final verdict. Here's a question for you. What's the worst thing about bugs?
Street smarts!
So here I am, and I want to find out what's the worst thing about bugs.
The worst thing about bugs is eating them.
The worst thing about bugs is finding them in your house.
The annoying sound they make in your ears.
They may be poison.
It's when they bite or sting. They're just disgusting.
See, it's not just me. Okay, I'll dig a little deeper. Here's a question from Geva.
How many different kinds of bugs are there?
One too many, but let's see, there's beetles, black ants, bees, red ants, carpenter ants, my Aunt Louise, who does sort of look like a bug, grasshoppers, mosquitoes, butterflies, shoe flies, house flies, horse flies, Jiminy Cricket!
You're gonna make my head explode!
I'm gonna need some help here. Please welcome today's guest. She loves bugs. She spends all day with bugs. Please welcome Marika DeChambeau.
Hi. I hope you don't mind. I brought a friend with me.
So, how many kind of bugs are there?
Actually, if you count just insects rule. There are like over 1 million species of insects that are described by scientists. That means that insects that have names.
Wow.
That's a lot, yeah.
That's a lot of bugs. I feel outnumbered.
You are, actually. Okay, so if you take just the ants and you put them on a giant scale, and then you take the humans, all the humans on the planet, and put them on the other side, imagine that. Ants weigh more than humans. What? And that's only ants, yeah. So yeah, we are outnumbered, but they live everywhere. Insects are tiny, so their home, instead of being like a huge forest, is a plant. And if a plant is an apartment, then a tree is like a city for insects. So there's many, many places where they can live, and that's why they're so numerous. They can live anywhere on the planet.
I'm gonna need a bigger fly swatter. That reminds me of a question we got earlier from Peter.
My question is, what bug is the biggest?
Marika?
If you talk about weight, then it's going to be beetle. And this particular beetle I brought here is the Goliath beetle. Just the name reminds you that it's huge, you know, Goliath beetle or Hercules beetle. These babies can weigh up to 3/4 of a pound, so that's pretty heavy for a bug, actually.
3/4 of a pound? That's as heavy as 2 cheeseburgers.
So imagine when that is flying around, it actually sounds like a helicopter.
Actually?
Yeah, and in Africa, where they come from, if you go on the road, sometimes there's yellow signs, you know, where you have these signs where they say you have to be careful of deer, and they have the same signs, but for beetles. Imagine that, they're that big. But if you get them in your windshield while you're driving, it's kind of like having a huge rock flying in your windshield, so it's kind of dangerous, you have to be careful. I also brought a giant millipede with me.
Okay.
It also comes from Africa. It's pretty huge. Quite tickly.
What the?
Cool, huh?
Yeah.
A tiny hand massage.
Now it's going around.
You're good. And this is not exactly an insect. There's differences between these kind of bugs and insects. Do you have a clue how we differentiate them?
Not really.
No. It's actually the number of legs.
Oh, okay.
When you know it, it's really easy.
Okay.
So if you see 6 legs, it's a bug, it's an insect.
Okay.
If you see 8,
it's not an insect.
You're close. It's hairy sometimes, and it lives in burrows.
Spiders.
There you go.
Okay.
So spiders have 8 legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And millipedes are called myriapods, which means a lot of legs. They're all bugs, but they're not all insects.
Okay.
Yeah. So now the longest bugs are stick insects, like this one, for example. They actually look like branches or leaves, and they do that to avoid getting eaten by predators. Some of them are much bigger, just like this one. See how the size is different?
Yeah.
But some of them are even bigger than this one. Yeah, they can reach 50 centimeters in length.
It's like
I know.
that.
Well, the branch is kind of long too, so they're good at imitating branches. Do you want to pick that one up?
Sure.
It's your new friend.
It's my new friend.
Yeah.
Well, not
Just
really.
put your hand in front.
There we go.
There.
His feet are sticky.
I know.
Now he wants you.
See? There. So this is one example of a stick insect that's more a leaf bug, so it imitates a leaf. It's pretty cool though. You can see his legs look like little leaves too.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's the same thing then with the other one. It only eats leaves, so it cannot hurt you in any way. Yeah.
So he eats leaves, and he
Eats
looks
leaves.
like a leaf.
Exactly, a leaf that eats leaves.
So earlier I looked up the biggest bug that ever lived, and fortunately they're extinct, but I made a model of it and it's practically a kite.
Yeah, that's a giant dragonfly, actually. Their name is Meganura. Its cousins, today's dragonfly, are much smaller. But small is good for insects because they can be everywhere.
Yeah. Yet, even small insects have a way of making a big impression. Let's take a look at another question.
Why do mosquitoes suck our blood?
The short answer is because they've been watching Twilight with your big sister. Vampires are so cute. Let's ask someone who knows. Marika?
Mosquitoes are not like vampires. They don't eat blood. Actually, they eat nectar from flowers, just like bees. But female mosquitoes, when they have eggs in their belly, then they will need to feed on blood to feed their eggs. So only females bite us to come and get our blood.
So mosquitoes drink nectar, like from a flower?
They do.
Wow, you've really helped us find a lot of stuff out. Thanks for being on the show, Marika.
It's my pleasure.
Here's another question. This one's from Stefania.
What do bugs eat?
Me, unfortunately, Stefania. Did you know mosquitoes think kids are tastier than grown-ups? I was surprised when I found out. But the weirdest thing bugs eat is, well, poop.
Poop is the dung beetle's favorite food. They like it so much they'll actually fight over it. That's got to be one stinky food fight. But that's nothing compared to killer insects. And I went to a place where killer insects live. The bug house.
They'll stomp on you. They'll mush you up with their claws. They'll eat you for breakfast. They're killer insects. Feed me. Ah!
To find out about killer insects, I'm here at a place where they raise them. Don Elliott is an entomologist. That's a scientist who studies insects. He grew up in the rainforests of South America, where insects rule.
So they're not gonna kill me, right?
Oh, no. No, we just raise good insects.
So what's the difference between good and bad insects?
Well, good insects are beneficial insects like bees and the predatory insects we raise. Bad insects are things like ants, fire ants, and things that cause harm to people and crops. What we do is add good insects to the mix, and the good insects eat the bad ones.
But they don't eat the crops?
They only feed on the bad insects.
Those red things are good bugs. They're the larvae of a midge. That's a type of tiny fly. You could say that larvae are baby bugs. And when they hatch, the first thing those baby bugs want to do is eat and eat and eat. And the thing they like to eat the most are aphids. Those are bad bugs that like to eat our crops. This is another good killer bug. Yep, a ladybug. They can eat up to 1,000 aphids a day.
Ladybugs? Everyone thinks they're like cute and precious, but they're actually T-Rexes.
Do you want to see how we collect the insects?
Sure.
Well, we first stop as a water slide for insects.
A water slide? Cool! Let's go see the water slide!
Come on in.
Whoa, look at all the bugs.
Yes, these are good bugs and bad bugs. This is how we collect them.
When these red larvae have eaten their fill of aphids, they drop off the leaf. And when they reach the ground, they start changing from babies to adults. But Don's water slide catches them before they hit the ground. They go for a ride. Whoa! And come out the other end. Here.
Whoa, it's like a toilet that's spinning around.
The larvae are carried by the water into this screen.
Oh,
Those are all the larvae.
whoa. How many are in there?
Oh, 10,000.
That's a lot. Dawn ships the larvae to farmers all over the world so that they can turn into these grown-up killer bugs. These midgets will lay more eggs that will turn into more hungry larvae. These things are so tiny. Can we see them up close?
Sure. Let's go and take a look through the microscope.
Okay.
Whoa! Hey, that one's eating the other one. Oh, that's disgusting.
That's life. Life in the bug world.
Whoa.
Okay, so some bugs like eating other bugs. Here's a really good related question from Madeline.
Why do people eat bugs?
I didn't know we did, except maybe on a dare. My good friend Sydney lives near someone who can answer your question.
The Sydney Report.
Today we're here with Professor Massimo Marconi to talk a bit about bugs. Thank you so much for having us.
It's great to have you. Would you like to try some insect tea?
Yes, please. Thank you. Insect tea, you say? What's it
Exactly.
made of?
This is actually the poop of the insect.
Really? I guess I shouldn't have asked that. So, I see that we have quite an assortment of foods as well as these bugs. What are these all for?
Well, in all these foods, when we are consuming them, we're consuming insects.
Oh boy. Are they also in vegetables?
Yes, all vegetables of all types have some sort of insect parts with them, so you're almost guaranteed to have insects.
Oh, that gives me a reason never to eat veggies ever again. So, why do people eat insects, including you?
Well, insects are very nutritious. They're very high in both protein and fat. And in many parts in the world, for example, Thailand and places like that, insects eat people's crops, and therefore there's a lot of insects there. So people collect the insects because they have no crops to eat, and they eat the insects.
Do you like eating insects?
Well, it depends upon the bug. The mealybug actually tastes a little bit, they're juicy. So these ones are juicy and they have a little bit of fat in them. Whereas the grasshoppers are a little bit on the crunchy side. So if you want something crunchy, more like a potato chip, then of course they would be the best.
What's your favorite bug?
To tell you the truth, probably my most favorite bug was probably the strangest bug was the scorpion.
A scorpion? Aren't they dangerous?
Well, they're dangerous until you cook them. Once you boil them at that high temperature, the venom that's in them that can harm you is actually destroyed.
Can we try some?
Well, I don't have any scorpions right at this moment, but we probably can cook you up some of the insects and let you try them.
Okay, sure.
Come with me. Sydney, I'd like you to meet Chef Carlos.
Nice to meet you.
He's one of the best chefs here at the University of Guelph, and he's going to help you cook up some insects.
Great. Thank you so much.
I'll leave you to it.
Thank you. What do we start with?
First, we're going to do the worms first.
Okay. So just pour in a few. Oh my gosh!
Some crickets.
Oh boy.
That's good. We're going to put some mushroom now.
Okay.
Some bok choy.
Okay.
We can put some noodles.
All of these noodles. Okay, we're gonna go in. Noodles going in. Oh, that smells amazing. Wow, I never thought I'd be saying something like that about bugs.
Yes, that's good.
All right, let me get a little bug in there too.
There you go.
Oh, noodles are falling off. I'm gonna try one of these mealworms too, actually. That was amazing.
Anytime you like it, I make more for you.
Okay, so eating bugs was a good experience, but I've got to admit, I was happy when it was time for dessert. Chocolate! Then Dr. Marconi told me there were bugs in that too. Oh, well, what if I just wanted to eat about half of it?
Well, even if you ate about that amount, there's about 30 insect parts there.
30 insect parts? What if I just ate one little stick?
About 15 of them there.
What if I only had one little block?
About 2 or 3 insect parts.
Oh, so it seems that even if we don't think we're eating bugs, we are eating them. They're in a lot of food we eat every day. That's what I found out, Harrison.
Thanks, Sydney. That gives me an idea for some
Street smarts.
So here I am at Kells Elementary, and I've set up a little experiment inside this classroom, which these kids have bravely volunteered to try. Are you sure you guys don't mind eating all these marvelous treats?
Yes.
Okay, well, dig in. They don't know it yet, but there are insects inside these foods.
Is it good?
Yeah.
So would it surprise you if I told you that you just ate a bug? Well, sort of. Red dye is sometimes made by crushing eggs of a cochineal beetle. Does that gross you out or what?
Yes.
But don't worry, it's perfectly safe.
Okay.
I think this is my favorite science project in the world.
The Flat Earth Corner! I like to spray the bugs, the aphids and the slugs, the spiders, caterpillars, flies, and worms. I spray the bugs upon my plants, the bees, the butterflies, the ants. If I only spray enough, my flowers will bloom.
Not long ago, like in our parents' lifetime, people thought that the only good bug was a dead bug. They sprayed poisons all around their gardens. But nowadays, we know that many insects do a lot of good things.
Pollinate, pollinate, makes your flowers bloom real great. Vegetables and fruits and trees need pollination from the bees. Yeah, vegetables and fruits and trees need pollination from the bees.
Why do bees live?
They probably wonder the same thing about us, Tamara. But seriously, let's find out why bees live with...
My Great Challenge!
Today's great challenge is between Team Butterfly and Team Bee. You'll be Team Butterfly, and you'll be Team Bee. The bees are depending on you to represent them. Don't sting me, okay?
Don't worry.
See that yellow stuff in the middle of the flower?
Yeah.
That's pollen.
When bees and butterflies land on a flower to drink nectar, which is like the best juice in the whole world if you're a bug, the pollen gets all over them. Then, when they visit the next flower, some of that pollen rubs off. The pollen is how a flowering plant can make new little plants.
You're gonna show us why bees live. You already have your special pollinator vests on, and these are your pollen balls. When I say go, you have 20 seconds to jump in and get as many of the pollen balls as you can to stick to you without using your hands. Got that?
Yeah.
Then, when I say time's up, you have to come over here and you have to shake or rub off as many pollen balls as you can into these flowers. This one's Team Butterflies and that one is Team Bees.
But remember, you can't use your hands.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Go get your pollen! Time's up. Remember, this one's Team Butterflies and that one's Team Bees.
Team Butterfly slips and Team Bee gets ahead. Team Butterfly is trying to catch up. Time's almost up.
Okay, stop. Now come over here. Let's see. Team Butterfly has 20 pollen balls. And let's see. Team B has 27. Team B wins. So there you have it. Bees live so that they can pollinate flowers, make us honey, and enjoy the sweet life.
Uh-oh. Do try this at home.
Oh, if you're feeling left out, I also have a challenge for you. Look for something that's made from bugs in your home. Cobwebs don't count. Here is a hint. Silkworms make silk.
So maybe a bug made the silk for your cushion or the ribbon in your hair. And a bee made the wax for beeswax candles. And honey. And even the honey in cough drops. And you remember that cochineal dye that makes candy red? It's also used for all kinds of things.
Do you have one of these at home? Or does your mom use this, You can tell her she's putting bugs on her lips. Who knew bugs were so useful? So let's see, Rim. Did I ever answer your original question?
Are mosquitoes good for anything, or are they just annoying?
The big answer is both. True, mosquitoes bite me and annoy me, but they're an important part of the food chain. For example, trout love to eat mosquitoes. Good going, trout. I don't have to like them all, but we need them. Bugs are important to our planet. Hey, I was saying nice things about you. So that's my show. Keep sending in questions so I can find stuff out for you. Aha, I know what I need. A trout. Who's scared now, Mr. Mosquito Man? Hi, welcome to Finding Stuff Out, the show where I answer your burning questions of the day. Like...
Why does the moon follow us?
Yes, Carl, why does the moon follow us? I wondered that myself recently while I was out for a walk.
Did you ever get the feeling that you were being followed? That's weird. It's you!
I caught the moon following me. Why does the moon follow us?
I don't know, but we're about to find out what tricks that moon is up to. And by the end of the show, I'll have the answer to your question.
Here's one from Jessica.
Why is there a moon?
Why is there a moon? I don't know. I know that it's there in the sky, but I've never really thought about why. And now you've got me thinking about it a lot. Did it just show up on our doorstep one day? Like a cat? It's mind-boggling. How did something so big get there? Why is there a moon? Ah!
You're going to make my head explode!
To answer your question, I went to the moon. Just kidding. If I really was on the moon, my face would expand and I wouldn't be able to breathe. Hey! Hey, Rover, are you following me too now? But seriously, I'm here today at the Canadian Space Agency in a place called the Sandbox, which is very similar to the surface of the moon. And here I am with Caroline Emmanuel Morissette, who's a lunar geologist.
Hi, Alison.
Hi. So what is the whole point of this sandbox?
Well, we can use it to practice for possible future lunar missions.
The astronauts practice down here, so they know what to do on the real moon. This is the perfect place to answer your question. Why is there a moon? Caroline says that most scientists think it's because of something called the giant impact.
The giant impact theory.
So did it involve giants like Jack and the Beanstalk swinging clubs like this?
No, it didn't.
Caroline tells me that according to the giant impact theory, billions of years ago, an asteroid as big as Mars smashed into the Earth. Parts of the Earth and parts of the asteroid shattered into pieces, then joined together to form the moon that we now see in our sky.
So in all the vastness of space, there's a chocolate cupcake orbiting around the sun, minding his own business, when all of a sudden, whoosh, hey there, buddy, this is my orbit. Get your own, pal. I'm sorry, I'm out of control, I can't help it. Yes, you can. Out of all the orbits in the galaxy, you had to choose mine. Whoa! Hey, you got vanilla icing all over me. No, you got chocolate icing all over me.
So the moon is made up of bits of vanilla cupcake and chocolate cupcake. Or, as an astronomer would put it, the moon is made up of bits of the Earth and bits of the asteroid that hit the Earth.
Next question.
Why does the moon have bumps like that?
Yeah, why does the moon have so many bumps?
When the Earth and the moon formed,
Caroline says when the Earth and the moon were made billions of years ago, There was so much stuff floating around in space that rocks and planets were always bashing into each other. Even today, new craters get made on the moon. It happens when meteoroids, that's stone or metal debris from space, crash into it.
Wow, I made my own mini crater.
I wondered why those meteoroids don't hit the Earth too. Caroline tells me it's because the Earth's atmosphere is like a shield. The meteoroids burn up when they try to get in. When you see a shooting star, it's really a meteoroid burning up in the Earth's atmosphere. But the moon doesn't have an atmosphere to shield it, so it gets hit.
How big can the craters be?
Well, some are very large, so you could take a day to cross them in a car.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So thanks for being on my show and helping me find stuff out. It was out of this world.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure, Harrison. Thank you.
Okay, Rover, ready? Oh, good boy! Yeah! Good boy, Rover! Yeah, good job! Good boy! Yes, you are! Good boy!
Street Smarts!
So, we all know that the Earth is made of, well, Earth.
And water. And what about plants? And rocks?
But what is the moon made out of? I have these kids here to help me find out.
Craters. Lots of gray stuff. Dirt. White grass. I think it is made of mozzarella or Parmesan cheese. And if I were to go to the moon, I would be sitting there all day long eating cheese.
Do you think you'd get sick of the cheese?
Yes, I would.
Here's a question from Evan.
Why does the moon light at night but not so much during the day?
Well, Evan, I found the answer on the website for NASA. They're people who explore space.
This is the moon at night. It's brightly lit up. And this is it during the day. You're right, Evan. It's not so bright now. But why?
I think this calls for...
The experiment! The NASA article suggested this experiment. Pretend this is the sun, and this mirror is the moon.
There's a lot of light, so when I put it over here,
we can still see the mirror. It just doesn't stand out a lot against the bright daytime sky. But when it's night, my mirror looks bright against the dark sky. Whether it's day or night, we can see the moon because it reflects the light from the sun. The moon doesn't make any light of its own. Look, if I turn the sun off, no more shiny moon.
So the moon has another disappearing trick up its sleeve, as Marissa points out.
Why sometimes the moon is full, or sometimes the moon is not full?
Marissa, that's a very challenging question, and the answer calls for...
My Great Challenge!
Okay, contestants, let's take a look at the phases of the moon.
Marissa is right. Here the moon is full. You can see all of it. But now, watch that moon start to disappear. It gets dark on one side, and it keeps getting darker a little more each night until you can only see half the moon. Eventually, you can only see a sliver of it, until it looks like a giant toenail clipping.
I hope you don't leave those under your bed. Moms hate that. Well, at least mine does.
Yeah, mine hates that too.
Anyway, finally it reaches the new moon stage. That's when we can't see it at all. Then, it gradually reappears, until it's the full moon again.
That's my favorite phase, could you tell?
Yeah.
And it's also my signal to start this challenge.
You're gonna wear these way cool hats! Yay! Here comes the sun. Now, you are the Earth and you are the moon. Your job is to find the new moon, which is the one that disappears. Go!
Marissa, the challengers are bending their brains to figure out the answer to your question. Why is the moon full sometimes and not full at other times? Team number 1 seems to be having trouble figuring it out. I guess they've got a lot on their minds. Get it?
Slower. faster. Here, there. Can't really see the moon when it's there. Yes, you're correct. When the moon is between the sun and the earth like that, that's when you can't see the moon as well.
That's because the sun isn't shining on the side of the moon you can see.
Now, the second part of the challenge is for you to find the full moon. Go. Now? Correct. As you see, now the Earth is between the moon and the sun, and the moon is fully lit.
That's because the sun is shining on the side of the moon that you can see.
You guys took 1 minute and 50 seconds to complete the challenge. Here comes the sun again. Okay, team number 2, now it's your turn. You're trying to find the new moon, which is when you can't see it. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, go.
Can team number 2 figure it out faster than team number 1?
There. You're correct. As you see, the moon is between the sun and the earth, and now you can't see the moon. So now you're trying to find the full moon. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, go.
The clock is ticking. If they can do it on their first try, they'll win this challenge.
There. Correct again. As you see, now the earth is between the sun and the moon, making the moon full. That was amazing. You guys did it in 17 seconds.
Yahoo! Yeah!
Congratulations. The winner of the challenge is team number 2.
Yahoo!
Thomas, you did it really fast. Why did it come so easily to you?
I knew that when all the light would be on it, it would be the full moon. And that when none of the light would be on it, it would be the new moon.
Did you learn that in school, or where did you learn?
Well, I don't remember actually.
You just knew, because you're a genius.
Kind of.
Why do people say the moon tastes like cheese?
The short answer is because they've never tasted moon rocks, which don't taste anything like cheese.
The moon made out of cheese? That would be awesome! In the 17th century, someone noticed the moon looked like green cheese. People joked around a lot about it being cheese. Apparently people are easily tricked because it caught on quite quick that the moon was made of Gouda, feta, cheddar, Swiss cheese. Unfortunately, it's none of these.
Why do wolves howl at the moon?
That's a really interesting question. Let's take a look at some wolves howling.
Wolves howl a lot. They even howl in the daytime. I checked, and wolves are more active on nights when the moon is bright, since, just like with us, it helps them see. And the more active they are, the more they howl. So it's not that they are howling at the moon. It's just that when the moon is bright, they're most likely to be going out doing all the things that wolves like to do. Like howling.
Wolves hold their head up high when they howl, which is why if they're howling when the moon is out, it looks like they're howling at the moon. But speaking of wolves and full moons...
Does the moon turn people into werewolves?
The Flat Earth Corner!
Does the moon turn people into werewolves? Well, as everyone in medieval Europe knows, duh, of course it does. I'm actually getting as hungry as a wolf. I really could use some moon cheese. Strange. That one didn't sound like my stomach. Werewolf again! People used to believe that the full moon turned people into werewolves. But the truth is, there's no such thing as werewolves, except in movies. But that doesn't mean you have to tell your little brother or sister. Speaking of weird movie ideas about the moon, check this out.
The full moon is the brightest object in the night sky. So it's no wonder that it pops up in so many myths, songs, and stories. and in this old movie. People have been dreaming about going to the moon for a long time, even if they didn't get all the details right. So that's not exactly how it happened, but it brings me to my next question, which is from Steven.
I want to know who was the first man on the moon.
Well, it definitely wasn't this guy.
Or these guys.
But there really was a first man on the moon.
The first man on the moon is on board this rocket. He went a long time ago, in 1969. 2 other astronauts are with him in the rocket. It traveled about 400,000 kilometers. That's the same distance as going around the Earth 10 times. When they got there, one of the astronauts, Neil Armstrong, became the first person to walk on the moon and talk on the moon.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Altogether, 12 people have been to the moon. They collected moon rocks and soil. And they also seem to spend a lot of time bobbing around. As Destiny has noticed,
Why do we float on air when we walk on the moon?
well, Destiny, walking on the moon feels a lot like walking on a trampoline because the moon has a lot less gravity than the Earth does. So we don't weigh as much on the moon as we do on Earth.
I was strolling on the moon one day in a merry, merry month of December. Oh, May. Dum-da-dum-dum-dum. Dum-da-dum-dum-dum.
So if you weigh about 70 pounds on Earth, like me, then you probably weigh only about 12 pounds when you're on the moon. That's the same as, like when you were a baby. That's me. I'm so cute. I wasn't so bad when I was a baby either. Anyway, this gives me a good idea for my Do Try This at Home.
Uh-oh. Do try this at home.
To get a sense of how different it would be if you were on the moon, try this. Wait, I think I can do better. Let's try that again. Now you try. Are you ready? And jump! Good. If you were like most kids, you probably jumped between 1/4 of a meter and 1/2 meter.
But if you were on the moon, you'd be able to jump 6 times higher. That's about 3 meters. That's higher than most ceilings. That would be pretty cool.
Note to self, don't try this at home if your house is on the moon. Now here's a question about something that happens right here on Earth.
How does the moon control the waves?
The answer is pretty amazing.
Our sun's gravity pulls on the Earth, which is why the Earth circles the sun.
I'm heavy, so I've got a lot of gravity.
Earth's gravity pulls on the moon, which is why the moon circles us.
I've got some influence of my own.
But even while the Earth is pulling on the moon also affects the Earth.
You're not the only one with pull around here.
That blue is Earth's ocean. Because Earth is always spinning, the moon is constantly pulling at different parts of it.
That makes the tide or water level of the ocean higher in the parts of the Earth closest to the moon. There's also a high tide on the opposite side of the Earth, because the moon pulls harder on the Earth than on the water over there.
If you don't live near the ocean or have never been there and seen the tide come in, it's pretty amazing. Check this out.
This is the Bay of Fundy in Nova Scotia. It has the highest tides in the world. The difference between high and low tide here is almost 17 meters. That's the height of a 5-story building. And look, this turbine uses tides to create electricity. See the wheel turning? And some people have used the moon's tides to have fun. Like these people surfing on a tidal river in Great Britain. I say, this is jolly good. Yeah, hang 10, mate.
Well, the moon is pretty awesome. It's beautiful to look at, it's our closest neighbor, and it has a strong effect on our planet. So there's just one last thing we have to figure out, and that's the answer to the question that brought me on this lunar quest to begin with.
Why does the moon follow us?
So, Carl,
your big answer is... distance! Remember when I said astronauts traveled 400,000 kilometers to reach the moon? Well, that is very, very far away. But these buildings are really close.
When I walk down the street, I pass the houses and trees quite quickly. But the moon is so far away that it doesn't seem like you're walking past it.
And that's why it seems like the moon follows us. Actually, the moon has some traveling of its own to do, and I'll show you that right now.
If you stay in one spot and watch long enough, you'll see that during the night, the moon appears to travel far across the sky because the Earth is turning.
See you next time for more Finding Stuff Out. Later. Try to follow me now. I would sure love to go to the moon one day. What about you guys?
Yes! Because I love cheese.
Welcome to Finding Stuff Out, the show where you send in your questions and I find out the answers. Sorry, I'm not trying to be rude. It's just I'm doing an experiment. Now, here's the first question from Cordell.
Why do bats sleep upside down?
The short answer is because they don't have claws on their head to hang on with. Okay, I don't know why bats sleep upside down when they sleep, but by the end of the show, I'll have the answer to your question and a bunch of other cool stuff about sleep.
Why do we yawn when we're sleepy?
Nobody knows why we yawn when we're tired, but it's contagious, like a cold, except you don't get sick. Scientists say we yawn just from seeing other people yawn. Here's an experiment you can do with your family or your friends. Just do this. And chances are, people around you will start to yawn without even thinking about it.
Nobody knows why we yawn. Nobody knows why we yawn. When we yawn, we breathe in oxygen, get the old air out and the new air in. If you yawn, someone else will too, but we don't know why it's something we do. Cause nobody knows why we yawn. Nobody knows why we yawn. We can put a man up on the moon. We can skate on ice in the month of June. We can build a robot to mow our lawn, but nobody knows why we yawn.
Oh, sorry. I'm still doing my experiment. Were you watching carefully? Did you yawn? It turns out it works on chimps too. So next time you're at the zoo, gotcha! Gotcha, yeah, it's you.
Well. It seems that chimps are not the only animals that yawn. In fact, most of them do.
What happens if you sleep your whole life?
Nobody knows, Trevor, because no one slept for their entire life. But there are made-up stories like Rip Van Winkle. He fell asleep for 20 years. But judging by this, if you did sleep your whole life, you'd probably end up looking like Santa Claus, only without the reindeer, red suit, or presents. But in real life, nobody sleeps for 20 years in a row.
In the wild, big cats sleep up to 20 hours a day. That's this much. That means they're only awake for 4 hours a day. Because they sleep a lot, they save their energy and don't have to eat as much. Catching your dinner is tiring work.
Next question's from Talea.
How much do we sleep?
I've never really thought about how much we sleep in total, but I know that grown-ups sleep 8 hours a night.
Okay, let's see here. You do 8 hours a night times 7 days a week equals 56 times 52 weeks in a year equals 2,912 times the number of years. Oh my gosh, this is unreal! I can't handle it! Why do I even have a calculator this big?
You're gonna make my head explode!
Here we are at a brain research clinic, the perfect place to come after your head explodes and to find out how much we sleep. And here's Anita, a brain specialist.
Hi, Harrison.
Hi. So, Anita, how much time do we sleep?
Approximately 25 years.
25 years? That's a lot of time wasted sleeping. I could do so many better things like play music all night.
Yeah, play music all night. Playing music all night.
Well, I'm sorry to say, Harrison, that's just impossible. You just can't do it. Your body would just fall asleep even if you didn't want to.
Shucks! Play music all night. Yeah.
How come we need sleep?
Yeah, why do we need sleep? Anita tells me that it has to do with these guys. Growth hormones. We have to sleep so much because that's when our body produces them. They make kids grow. Sleep is also the time when our body does most of its repair work.
So, not me, but that's why other kids have to sleep so much, right?
Sure.
What does your body do when you sleep?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, to answer that question, why don't we do a little experiment? Go put on your PJs.
PJs? Okay.
Destiny, the best way to answer your question is for me to go to sleep. With wires attached to my head.
So I'm ready to go to sleep, and these wires are gonna measure my brain activity while I'm asleep. And no, in case you're wondering, I don't sleep with a teddy bear.
The answer to what happens to your body when you're asleep is in your brain.
So is that a real brain?
Yeah, it's a real cow's brain. It's about the size of a 12-year-old's brain.
Thanks a lot. Now I'm gonna have nightmares.
Okay, we're recording. Good night, Harrison.
So I went to sleep while a camera watched how I moved. And the wires on my head sent signals to a computer that drew my brainwaves. It showed how active my brain was. Then, Anita showed me what happened to my body while I slept.
Harrison, this is when you're awake.
Okay.
As you can see, your brain waves are smaller.
Here, my brainwaves are small. That shows that I'm still awake. Then the waves get bigger as my body slows down and I go into a light sleep.
You can see that your brain activity is starting to change.
Yeah, it goes more jagged there.
Yep, the waves are bigger, which means you're starting to fall asleep. These are what's called sleep spindles.
Okay.
So that means you're around stage 2, so you're asleep now.
Okay.
And your breathing is still constant and your muscles are still moving.
Scientists measure sleep in 5 stages. The waves show how I am asleep now, and as the night goes on, my sleep gets deeper. Then, something suddenly changes.
All of a sudden, you see really...
Wow. So yeah, that's...
a lot of fluctuations up and down.
Wow. Big change.
Yep.
The 5th stage of sleep is when you dream. It's called REM, which stands for Rapid Eye Movement. It's called that because our eyes move around very fast while we sleep. Our dreams feel so real, but we don't move.
And even your muscles, you can see now change completely. So your muscles are paralyzed and you can't move. And the only muscles that can move are the muscles for breathing, your eyes, and for hearing.
Wow.
It's believed we can't move because it's nature's way to prevent us from acting out our dreams and getting hurt.
How come when my sister sleepwalks, she can go up and down a ladder?
Well, we don't exactly know why people sleepwalk, but we do know that she's probably in stage 3 or 4 of her sleep because in REM, your muscles are paralyzed, so you can't move. Children tend to sleepwalk more than adults, and you tend to grow out of it.
Is it dangerous to sleepwalk?
No. You tend to do everyday activities like fold your clothes or walk up and down the stairs.
It's really weird. I'd probably go to the fridge or play drums.
Well, it's nice to know that sleepwalking is not dangerous. Except if you bump into something. That your brain is smart enough to keep your heart beating, even when you sleep. And finally, that sleep does help kids grow. We really do need to go to bed.
Thanks, Anita. And thanks a lot for the nightmares.
Are you feeling better?
Much better.
Why do we have good and bad dreams?
The Flat Earth Corner!
To sleep, perchance to dream. Why indeed do we have good and bad dreams? No! That was a scary one. But verily I believe that it was not the large, lip-smackingly yummy pepperoni pizza that I has eaten before bed that caused my bad dream. Nay, methinks it was the work of a demon! The mare part in nightmare is Old English for demon. That's because people used to think bad dreams were caused by night demons. Nowadays, we know the only person that can give you a nightmare is yourself. Though, having pizza before bedtime probably isn't the best idea. Your body wants to rest, not digest. But nightmares can't hurt you, so next time you're having one, think of an ending that's not scary. Say you have a dream that you're in your room when all of a sudden, instead of being scared, oh, you again. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You're that scary nightmare my imagination created. Well, I've decided you're not so scary anymore. Nope, you're not that scary. Instead, you're gonna be a balloon. Goodbye, nightmare. See you later. That's better. So, next time you have a bad dream, remember, you're in charge, not the thing that's scaring you. Just turn that dream into something fun, like this one, my personal favorite. I can fly! Experts say a lot of kids dream about flying. They say when we're having this kind of dream, we're allowing ourselves to experience success by using our imagination and courage. Woo! I just flew in from Las Vegas. Man, are my arms tired. Hey, what's that baby head doing in my dream?
Street smarts!
So everybody sleeps, right?
Yeah.
But I want to know about your dreams. So what is your weirdest dream you've ever had?
My weirdest dream was when I was getting chased by a giant pink robot. I turned into a director, and then I keep saying action, and everybody's not listening to me, and then a random blue pig keeps coming and dancing. My weirdest dream was when 10,000 cats were chasing me.
A dog ate me.
Your dog ate you?
Yes, he ate me, and when he spit me out, I turned into E.T.
When ninja was attacking me, like with ninja stars and stuff for no reason.
A lion comes into town and eats a chicken bone. He goes into the store, and then he eats the chicken bones from in there, and everyone runs out screaming like they're getting chased.
I turned into a Lego guy, and I had the secret lair and stuff. My weirdest dream is when a blue kangaroo was chasing me for no reason. My weirdest dream is when I turned into a blueberry.
A blueberry?
When I turned into a small person and a guinea pig was chasing after me.
Turned into a cloud and I floated all the way to China, and when I came back, I became a new normal human again.
Well, there it is. I'll tell you that my weirdest dream was when I went to this really weird school with some really weird kids, and they started telling me about all their weird dreams.
Zombies! Dreams aren't the only thing we do when we're sleeping, as Adonijah points out.
How come when grandpas sleep, they snore so loud?
I was going to ask your grandpa, but he was sleeping. And by the way, he does snore loudly. But I checked, and anybody can snore, no matter what age they are. When you sleep, your body relaxes, including all this stuff.
When it relaxes, all that stuff in your throat blocks your air passages. So, you breathe harder to get air. Then that stuff vibrates, making the snoring noise. But we do tend to snore more as we get older. That's because our muscles get weaker. So all that stuff is looser and blocks out air passages. And that's why Grandpa snores so loud.
Even if you're young and not overweight, you can still snore.
Uh-oh. Do try this at home.
You can try this snoring experiment right now as it happens. First, tighten up your nasal cavities right here. Then, breathe in and you should be able to make a sound like this. Did you get it?
So next time you want to stay up late reading comics under the covers with a flashlight, if your parents come along,
Harrison, are you still up?
you can fool them into thinking you're sleeping.
No, I guess he's asleep.
I never told you that, all right?
Why don't fish die when they sleep?
So to answer Yaren's question, I'm here with marine specialist Nicole Can, who can answer your question. Hi. So why don't fish die when they sleep?
It's a really great question, and mostly it's because they don't sleep the same way that we do. They never get to sort of nestle into the kelp and have really sweet fishy dreams, whatever they dream about. Instead, they keep sleeping while they're swimming. So as they go around, they can shut down most of the energy levels in their bodies, keep taking in water through their mouths and passing it over their gills, but they're not really paying attention to what they're doing. They're sort of zoned out. As soon as a predator comes by, though, they can snap awake and swim away.
So it's kind of like sleepwalking.
Maybe sleep swimming.
Sleep swimming.
Do whales sleep?
So do whales sleep?
Absolutely they do, but they sleep completely differently than we do. It's actually my favorite thing about these whales. Like Keela here, she can turn off half of her brain at a time. Because they're mammals, like we are, they have to breathe just the same as we do. But they have to think about every single breath they take. So while one half is asleep, the other half keeps them going up to the surface to grab air, and then they can switch. And they keep going back and forth until they've had enough rest, and they can get on with their day.
It's a little strange.
A little bit.
So do they sleep the same amount that we do?
Absolutely not. First of all, they never sleep for as long as we do. But some whales, dolphins, and even killer whales, when they're babies, they might not sleep at all for the first month of their life.
They don't sleep? Their parents must be more tired than mine. What about other creatures like sea otters?
Sea otters sleep too, but they do it at the surface. So they get a big group together, and sometimes they'll even actually hold paws like this to make sure that nobody floats away while they're sleeping. So everybody from whales to otters to fish, everybody sleeps, but they all sleep a little bit differently than we do. Harrison?
I checked, and it's not only sea creatures that sleep differently than we do.
Monkeys and chimpanzees like to sleep in the trees where they're safer from animals that could sneak up and attack them if they were on the ground. Giraffes and elephants don't have to worry very much about getting eaten, except when they are sleeping. So they need only 3 hours of sleep a day. Birds can even snooze for 30 seconds at a time when they're in the air. That's how they manage to fly non-stop when they fly away for the winter and return in the spring. Some animals sleep during the day. They don't get busy till night, like raccoons, hamsters, fireflies, and, you guessed it, bats.
And Cordell, that takes us back to your question that kicked off the show.
Why do bats sleep upside down?
The big answer is to make a quick getaway. Say, poor Mr. Bat is asleep when a hungry raccoon spots him. A bird could just quickly fly up and away, but poor old Mr. Bat can't take off fast like a bird. His wings aren't strong enough. He can only start to fly by dropping into the air. So what's a bat gonna do? Suddenly, that old raccoon lunges at Mr. Bat. Mr. Bat lets go and drops through the air. He gets up enough speed to start flying and make his getaway. Whoa, that story had me hanging on the edge of my seat. When you hang on to something, you have to think about tightening your hands around it.
But for a bat, it's the opposite. Their claws naturally close. They have to consciously make them open. That keeps them from falling when they're asleep. So they have to wake up and let go and start flying. And that is why they sleep upside down.
And just for the record, this position is very uncomfortable. Thanks for watching Finding Stuff Out. See you next time. Ow. Hi, welcome to Finding Stuff Out, where I answer your big questions. Like, what is all this stuff? Stick around and you'll find out. Because by the end of the show, I promise there'll be an explosive finish. Now, I always start the show with one of your questions, so here's the first one.
What will happen if someone cracks the earth?
The short answer is mass destruction, disaster, chaos, the release of giant radioactive monsters! But seriously, if there are underground monsters waiting to escape, I want to know about them. So by the end of today's show, I'll find out what would happen if someone cracked the earth.
Here's a question from Jaden.
What I want to know is, how does an earthquake happen?
Well, there isn't an earthquake happening here at the moment, but I do know where to find out about them. My good friend and roving reporter Sydney is at the Science Center.
The Sydney Report.
Thanks, Harrison. Today I'm with Julie Jones, the earthquake expert. How does an earthquake happen?
That's a great question. The Earth is a bit like an orange. Inside the orange is liquidy and juicy. Inside the Earth is liquid rock. It's hot. Now, on the outside of the Earth, there's a crust. Just like on the outside of the orange, we have a peel. But they're in plates. And so I've kind of shown here that we've taken the orange open, and when those plates shift and move, that's when we get earthquakes.
Julie told me that where tectonic plates meet, that's where earthquakes and volcanoes happen. Like here, around the edge of the Pacific Ocean. There are so many earthquakes and volcanoes there that it's called the Ring of Fire. This map shows the number of earthquakes that have happened in the last 30 days. Wow, there's a lot. Julie tells me they use something called the Richter scale to measure their energy.
The actual scale ranges from 0 to 10. Now, we've never had a 10. That's incredibly a massive earthquake. But anything less than a 2, we don't really notice at all. Something from like a 2 to a 3.5 or a 4, you're going to notice the Earth, it's going to move a little bit. Maybe some of the china in your cabinet that's a little close together is going to rattle. You might see some liquid moving in a fishbowl. But it's still a fairly small earthquake. But once you get into the 4s and the 5s and the 6s, then the building starts to shake. And once a building starts to shake, there can be damage in a building. And once you get up to something that's a magnitude 9, well, those are some of the biggest earthquakes we've ever had, and those are incredible. The whole building just wobbles back and forth. They collapse. We have tsunamis. All of those things go with a 9. All right, so when the surface of the Earth moves, the buildings move. And we try and make our buildings safe by building them using certain techniques. Here we have 2 distinct buildings. One is a very standard building, the other one is actually on a base that shifts back and forth, so that when the Earth shifts, in theory, it doesn't move around as much, making it a safer building to be in. You've got some handles that give the table a shake.
Oh, I see. So this one moves with the Earth, whereas this one just shakes back and forth.
Yeah. Now, we just discovered that this building will be the safer building to be in, so clearly it will survive a stronger earthquake than this one.
I also read that diagonal crossways for a building would make it more stable. Does that mean that if I were building out of Lego or K'NEX, if I made my base of my house with diagonal crossed bars, that would make it stronger than just straight?
Yes, if you're working in K'NEX, triangle shapes are the strongest shapes, so if you incorporate those with like a diagonal to an X across a square, that's going to be a stronger building.
But what about something like a road? What would happen to a road?
The plates go over top. So when it shifts, the road goes up, the surface goes up. Now this is a big earthquake. So Sydney, you had asked me about the Richter scale and how we measure earthquakes. This is a seismometer. Let's give it a demo. Why don't you give us a stomp, make the earth shake if you can, and we'll see how it measures up. Not too bad. It's a little. I made a blip. You made a blip. So you can imagine the more you've shifted the Earth, the greater the energy, the higher the magnitude.
Oh no! What have I done? Whoa! Sorry about that, Harrison. Hang on.
Just kidding. But imagine if tectonic plates had to explain to their mom who made this big mess.
It's not my fault the earth went crack. He pushed me, so I pushed him back. It's not my fault this seismic rift. Pacific plate, he started it. When plate pushes plate, you get an earthquake. When plate pushes plate, you get an earthquake.
Now here's a question from Rianne.
How can they predict the weather, but they can't predict earthquakes?
Actually, Rianne, even weather forecasts are only accurate 7 times out of 10. There are so many forces involved in creating an earthquake that scientists still haven't figured out how to predict them yet.
Uh-oh. Do try this at home. If you're in an earthquake, you have to get away from anything that might fall on you. Even on a desert island.
So what if the earth started shaking right now, like this? Do you feel that? It's a tremor. Where do you go? What do you do? So the best place to be during an earthquake is outside, away from buildings, trees, and power lines. But, of course, you can't predict where you're going to be when there's an earthquake. So during an earthquake, it's best to be under a sturdy table like this because it protects you from anything that falls. Another great place is to sit under a door frame because the frame protects you from things that fall. Whew. But you're not really likely to feel one unless you live near a fault line.
This is a picture of the San Andreas Fault in California, where the Pacific Plate meets the North American Plate. The movement of the plates is slowly pulling California apart. Eventually, Los Angeles will slide past San Francisco in about 20 million years.
So while we're waiting for that to happen, let's take a question from Atom, who wants to find out.
How does lava get created inside volcanoes?
The Flat Earth Corner! So how does lava get created inside volcanoes? Well, here in ancient Rome, we've got that figured out. The god Vulcan has a blacksmith's forge in there. And volcano, get it? It's so funny because I made a joke and it was a funny one. Silly Romans, I am Rene Descartes. Here in the Renaissance, we admire the Romans, but instead of superstition, we have science. Through observation and deductive reasoning, I have concluded that volcanoes are created by the sun burning holes into the earth and allowing lava to escape. Makes sense, no? Descartes was a mathematical genius, but his explanation about volcanoes didn't make any more sense than the Romans. To find out how lava is created, please welcome a real volcanologist, Professor John Sticks. Hi.
How you doing, Harrison?
Welcome to my show.
Well, thanks for having me.
So can you tell me how lava is created?
This little can is going to tell us something about how volcanoes work.
A can of mixed nuts?
Yep.
I think I know what's coming, but I'll bite. Are you saying that snakes make lava?
Well, not exactly, wise guy.
The experiment.
How is a snake like lava?
Okay, so that's a good experiment that shows that when pressure is released, a volcanic eruption happens. What happens is the magma breaks, then you get lava.
Magma is the melted rock and metal under the Earth's crust. It turns into lava once it reaches the surface of the Earth, like when it comes out of a volcano.
So what do you have here?
It's a can of soda. We'll pop this one open slowly, and we'll fill up this baby bottle. Okay, soda pop is actually a great analog for a volcanic eruption and a volcano, because what's happening is that you're releasing pressure, and when the pressure is released, bubbles come out.
Oh, whoa, it's filling up.
So that's exactly what happened there. The bubbles came out, and the pressure built up in the volcano. This is our volcano.
So now it's time for another question.
What would happen if volcanoes were everywhere?
Yeah, what would happen? Would it be like my scene of destruction earlier?
Yeah, it would be a mess, but it actually doesn't work like that. Most volcanoes are actually not erupting right now. They're fairly quiet.
Oh, okay.
And some volcanoes, after a few months or a few years, start to get active, and they go into a eruption, and they might erupt for a few months or years, but then they quiet down. There are a couple of volcanoes that are always erupting, but these are pretty small volcanoes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then let's take another question. This one's from Melissa.
Does lava turn into a special rock when it hardens?
Okay, so think about lava. We see pictures of lava flowing in places like Hawaii, for example. Yeah. Okay, so it can come out as lava, but it can come out as ash too during an explosive eruption. So here is one volcanic rock. You can hold that.
It's like it was like polished, sort of.
Yeah, it's actually glass. It's called obsidian, and it has cooled really, really fast, just like glass does.
That's really cool.
Let's look at another one. Okay, so here's a piece of pumice.
Yes, I've heard of this.
Yeah, okay, so pumice is material that's been erupted out of the volcano, but the reason it's so light is that it's full of gas bubbles from all the gas, just like our can, okay? Same idea, full of gas bubbles that came out of the magma as it was erupted. Do you think this is heavy?
Probably.
It's not actually that heavy.
No, you're just going to show it.
Okay, yeah. So inside this rock, this is a great rock.
Yeah.
So this is called a volcanic bomb. And inside the rock, it's full of bubbles, okay? And on the outside, it cooled faster than inside.
Really?
So it's full of cracks. See, all these are the cracks.
Oh yeah, all these things.
Yeah, and then inside here, if we dropped it, which I'm not going to do, if we dropped it, we would see tons of bubbles. It would look something like
that inside?
Yep.
It would split open, yeah. Okay.
Let's do one more thing, okay? So let's think about magma flowing in a conduit before it erupts, okay? Flowing through the throat of the volcano. So here's the magma right here. It's actually sort of silly putty. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the magma flow slowly first.
Okay,
so just pull slowly.
Okay.
Okay, here's slowly flowing magma. Okay, no problem. Lava comes out and so forth. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So now, all of a sudden, For some reason, maybe because there's a lot of gas in the system, the stuff, instead of flowing slowly, it's flowing fast. 1, 2, 3. Okay?
Oh, it
so
just
it
came
didn't
right
flow.
apart.
It didn't flow. It actually broke. So it can come out as big pieces, one big piece, one big piece, one very big piece.
Or a whole
But it
bunch of
can
little
also
ones.
come out as ash. So these are very small pieces.
So that's how you get all these cool shapes I found.
Okay, so this is a picture of the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland, and it's showing a series of lava flows. And the columns, they're actually called columnar joints, and it's caused by the cooling of the lava. This other picture is a picture of the Hawaiian Islands. I think it's a very great place to look for lava flows. You can see wonderful lava flows actually in the process of forming and flowing and actually flowing into the ocean sometimes. Yeah, and this is an example of a lava tube. And a lava tube is basically just as it sounds, lava flowing through a tube. And one reason it's able to flow in the tube is because the tube insulates the lava, so it stays hot, it's able to flow, and it's actually able to flow sometimes very long distances.
Okay, so now what are we doing over here?
Okay, we're going to look at 2 pieces of volcanic rock.
Okay,
Pick up the first one.
This one.
So people actually use that for their barbecues?
It has a bunch of holes.
Yeah, throw it in the water now.
Okay.
Okay, so that sinks.
It just sank right
Most
away.
volcanic rocks sink.
Yeah.
Throw that one in the water.
Okay, so this one, it floats.
It's got so many bubbles, it's super light, less dense than water, so it actually floats. And this is from a highly explosive volcanic eruption.
So maybe it's the only rock that floats?
Yeah, I think it is the only rock that floats. That's exactly right.
So thanks for helping me find stuff out. Can you come back later for the big finale?
I wouldn't miss it.
Awesome. Amazing, isn't it? Volcanoes make you think of destruction and ruin, but there are a lot of positive things that come out of them too, like soap. Besides that, volcano stuff is also made into blades that eye doctors use to perform delicate surgery. It's in the cement used to build our homes and schools, and in fertilizers that help to grow our food. Let's take another question. This one's from Sam.
My question is, what's the temperature inside of a volcano?
The temperature inside of a volcano? Okay, let's take a look. The temperature inside of my house is about 20 degrees. And we know a volcano is hotter than that. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, but rock melts much hotter than that. Our oven can bake stuff at 220 degrees, but I don't think rock can melt in it. Maybe if we use 16 ovens, 220 times 16, probably close to the temperature of my brain right now, which is hot enough to... You're gonna make my head explode! So I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that the inside of a volcano is really hot. But to get a more precise answer, I'm gonna go over to Sydney at the Science Center. Over to you, Sydney.
Thank you, Harrison. Now we're going to meet George Karunas. Speaking of which, where is he? What is that?
Hi, Sydney.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. Getting kind of warm in here.
What is this?
This is my volcano heat suit. It's a specially designed suit that allows me to not only get close to volcanoes, but right up to the lava.
So you've been into real volcanoes with this?
Several times, yeah. It's what I do.
That is so cool.
I explore erupting volcanoes.
It must have been really hot, though.
Exactly, and that's why I wear the suit. Lava can be 2,000 degrees. Now imagine if you're baking a cake at home, that's only 350 degrees. So if lava were to cover your car, it would melt. It's hot enough to melt rock. I've been in the situation where I've had lava in my hands, like a hot potato. It's so hot.
So you must have been in there very short periods of time, otherwise this you might even burn.
Exactly, it will protect me, but not for a long time. I'll put on the suit, I'll get into the volcano, close to the lava, maybe for a few minutes to grab a sample, take some photos, and then out.
So how does a volcano work?
Well, I've got a simulation right here and I can show you. Hit the button.
Okay.
So the volcanoes are the biggest kinds. Yes, and when they have a huge eruption,
look at that.
Rocks can go flying for kilometers out of the volcano.
And look at the streaks of ash with the rocks.
Yep. Tremendous
Flying
amounts of
out.
ash that can bury cities and spread more than halfway around the world.
It's
almost like an avalanche of ash.
That's exactly what it is. That's a pyroclastic flow. It is an avalanche of ash and hot gas pouring down the side of the mountain. Pompeii is a city in Italy that was completely buried by ash in 79 AD, a long time ago, and they were actually able to excavate, find the city underneath, and they actually found the shell of people that were buried by the volcano 2,000 years ago.
The shell?
By digging down, they were able to find empty spaces in the piles of ash where people used to be. They filled those holes with plaster, and when they took away all the ash, they found the shape of human beings.
Whoa.
It's really amazing to see. The power of a volcano, it's like a gigantic bomb going off.
If the city was at the bottom of the volcano, could any people run away and escape before it came in?
Depends on the size of the volcanic eruption. A big eruption, like the one that we just simulated here, you would have pretty much no chance of running.
How does that suit protect you then?
Well, let me show you. Come on. All right, I'm gonna show you exactly how this suit protects me from a volcano's heat. I got my friend Mark here. He's gonna breathe fire on me. Stand back.
Cool. I'm not sure what they're about to do, but whatever it is, do not try it at home.
Whoa. Ready?
Whoa! Whoa, that was amazing! Woohoo! That was great! Thank you guys so much for joining us. Back to you, host Harrison.
What a coincidence! That's how my grandma bakes her cookies. Thanks, Sydney. And now it's time to go to the question that started this investigation.
What will happen if someone cracked the earth?
The big answer is nothing new. The Earth already is cracked, and it's still cracking and shifting as we speak.
Along with that, we get new mountains, new islands, and we have to live with occasional earthquakes and volcanoes.
Which unfortunately we can't predict. But here's something we can predict. At the beginning of the show, I promised you a huge eruption, and here it is. So here I am back at my school's loading dock, which they have let me use for this demonstration, and Professor Sticks has come to help me out.
Yeah, Harrison, we're gonna make an explosive eruption. We're gonna shake up these cans and we're gonna simulate a volcanic eruption on three. Ready?
Okay.
One, two, three. All right, not bad.
So that was fun, but it wasn't the explosive finish that you've been waiting for. Right, Professor?
Yeah, I think we can do better.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the first thing you do when a volcano erupts?
Run?
As fast as you can.
Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. See you next time for more Finding Stuff Out! Hi, welcome to Finding Stuff Out. You know what I love about doing the show? Whenever I'm about to get blamed for something, like that moldy bread under the couch, I always say it's research. Like when I made a paper airplane in class, I told the teacher that you guys sent me a bunch of questions about flying. Here's the first one. It's from Angelina.
Why can't humans fly?
I know! It's so unfair, isn't it, Angelina? Whatever the reason is that I can't fly, it's not good enough! But maybe if we start with something that can fly and figure out how they can do it, maybe we can fix it so that we can. Let's start at the beginning.
We have to go back, way back, about 360 million years. The first living creature to fly was an insect.
Geronimo!
And flying was such a big advantage if you're trying to catch something to eat or avoid being eaten, that more bugs evolved to fly. Today, more than 1 million species of bugs have wings.
That's a lot of flying bugs, almost as many as I have questions.
Here's one from Mika.
How do fat bees fly with their little legs and their big fat selves?
That's exactly what I want to find out about. Bees do not look like they should be able to fly. So if they can do it, why can't humans?
Check this out. These bees are beating their wings so incredibly fast, you can hardly see them. Now watch. I put it into super slow-mo. See? They don't just flap them like birds do. They rotate them. Bees fly a lot like helicopters. That's the way I want to fly. They both can hover, change direction quickly, and watch this, fly backwards.
Clearly, insects are nature's expert flyers. So if we're ever going to do it, we should probably find out how they do it.
Excuse me.
Whoa, okay, maybe not. No more bugs. Next question.
How do birds fly?
The short answer is wings. To find out how wings work, I have a 4-time Canadian model airplane champion. Please welcome my special guest. It's a bird. It's a plane. Oh, and it's Isabelle DeLaurier.
Hi, Harrison.
I'm glad that's not a bug. So I want to know how birds use their wings to fly. Can you help me?
Sure. What you have to know is that whether you're a bird or an airplane, either way, what you need to fly is a set of wings. They all look a little bit different, but they have the same basic shape, and it's called an airfoil. Do you know what an airfoil is?
No, what's an airfoil?
So an airfoil, it's like a giant sail on a sailboat.
Okay.
So the only difference is that on a sailboat, the wind pushes the sail and the boat moves forward, but on the airplane, the 2 sails are lying down, so the wind goes over the wing and under the wing. And because it's shaped like a sail, it's an airfoil, that wind makes it go up. It's kind of the same thing for birds, but there's one difference. What do birds do with their wings that airplanes don't do? They flap it, exactly. So they go faster and faster until they're going fast enough that they can just spread their wings like that and soar and glide.
I put this little beauty together myself. It's a wind tunnel. It actually shows how wings work.
Yeah, so what's really cool about the wind tunnel is that usually you can't see wind, but with the wind tunnel, there's a smoke machine, and you can see the smoke, so it shows you how the wind is going.
Okay.
So what people do when they want to test airplanes, they put it in the air. So can you see how the smoke is hitting under the wing?
Yeah, it goes like below, like it hits down and goes below, and then a little bit comes up and goes over.
Exactly. So if we were going to let go of the airplane, that wind that we see with the smoke would push the wing up, and that's what would make the airplane fly. So people can design wings like that and figure out what's the best wing for an airplane.
Okay.
But maybe we can test some other stuff too.
Yes, I think we have this flying chipmunk or squirrel, yeah?
So the flying squirrel has like big flaps of skins like that, just like a wing. So it's a nice curved shape, like an airfoil.
Yeah.
And when it jumps out, it does like a parachute.
Oh, so it doesn't actually have wings that can flap, just stretchy skin.
That's right.
And we also have Falcon Boy, yeah! Because Falcon Boy can fly, and it's a falcon and a boy.
I don't know about you, but I think Falcon Boy should get a ride on the airplane.
Let's do
Want to
that.
put him on?
Okay, wait.
Let's see if that works.
He gets lazy sometimes, so he just takes an airplane.
So although wings might look a little bit different, whether you're an airplane, a bee, or a bird, or a flying squirrel, or even Falcon Boy, they all work pretty much in the same way.
So I think we're getting somewhere. If I have the right type of wings, maybe I can fly. That sounds like a challenge.
Great challenge!
Today's great challenge is all about making the best homemade paper airplanes. We're here at my school's loading dock since we need a lot of space to fly them. Our 2 challengers today are Kenny and Aaliyah. They're going to be demonstrating airfoil with nothing but paper and air. The contestants are going to be making specialized planes to fly the straightest, the farthest, and to perform the best aerobatic tricks.
Plane number 1, the straight shooter.
What makes this plane fly the straightest?
Well, it's kind of pointy, so it's a very pointy and narrow wing like this, so it's like an arrow or a dart. So it's going to go very straight.
Plane number 2, the cruiser.
What's the difference with the one we just made?
Well, this one has square wings and they're really big, so it's going to help it go really far and fly for a really long time. It can just soar a lot longer and a lot better. So what's really special about this airplane is that it actually won the world's record for the longest flight.
Cool. Wow. I'm gonna beat that record.
I believe in you, Kenny. You go for it.
Plane number 3, the stunt plane.
What tricks do they do?
So they can do loops and stall turns and all kinds of stuff. And if you're really, really good with it, you can even make it come back to you like a boomerang.
So I guess we're all done. Now it's for the moment of truth. Yeah! Okay, the first round is all about accuracy. Kenny, you're up first.
So you guys are going for the cone. The closest one wins. Pretty good.
Aaliyah, now it's your turn. So I guess that round goes to Kenny. Now for the second round, which is about distance. Whoa. Good job, Aaliyah. You are the winner of the second round. So you both have won one round. So the winner will be determined by the third round, which is about aerobatics. Kenny, you're up first. So I guess Aaliyah was the winner. She was the first one to do a loop-de-loop. So Aaliyah is our winner. Congratulations. Yes! Now it's time for another question. This one's from Eric John.
What I want to know is how big is the biggest bird alive?
Now we're talking, Eric John. If humans are going to fly, we should probably check out some of the biggest flyers. To answer your question, I'm gonna get some street smarts! I found out the bigger the bird is, the bigger wings it needs to fly. The bird with the biggest wingspan and the world's champion long-distance flyer is the wandering albatross. These giant seabirds can ride ocean winds for hours without resting or even flapping their long wings. So, how wide is the wingspan of an albatross?
This wide!
These kids think it's a really heavy bird.
If I were a bird, I would like to be an albatross because I have a big appetite.
So I want to know how much you think an albatross weighs.
1,000 pounds? 55 pounds?
805 pounds. 300 pounds. 115 pounds. 500 pounds. 99 pounds. 20.
And the winner is you!
Yes!
An albatross weighs just over 20 pounds, which is about the weight of a 1-year-old baby.
Wow. I find it unbelievable. I thought it was 500 pounds. It's really light. I thought it would be more than 20 pounds.
Whoa! So how much do you think I weigh?
80. 9,000. 90.
102.
102? Actually, I weigh 70 pounds. I guarantee it. Yeah, you can put me down now if you want.
It's not heavy.
So I weigh about 70 pounds, which would be 3.5 albatrosses. My wings would have to be this wide for me to be able to fly. That would be hard. I'd need a lot of wide open space to land, and it would be really, really difficult to go inside anywhere. Maybe the albatross isn't the best model for humans wanting to fly. So here I am with Tanya Drapeau from Falcon Environmental Services, who I thought was gonna bring a lightweight bird, but this guy looks heavy.
That's what you think. Why don't you try it out?
Okay. And then I hold this?
Yeah, you hold on to that, and as I drop my arm, the bird goes up the stairs.
Okay.
Just like that, onto your fist.
Go.
So what do you think?
It's pretty light. He was lighter than I actually thought he was gonna be.
Yeah, he kind of looks like he weighs more than a house cat, but he weighs about 5 pounds. That's the same as a big tub of peanut butter.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty much his weight. Do you want me to take him back? All right. So all you need to do is just open your hands. There we are. And there we go. Right back to me. Now, birds have lots of adaptations for flight, so that's why sometimes they look heavier than they actually are. Half of his body is really just feathers. And then their skeleton actually is made up of many hollow bones, so that means that there's kind of nothing in them. They're very strong, but it allows them to be lighter for flight. Humans will have a very strong jaw bone as well as teeth, whereas birds just have a very lightweight beak or bill.
Just the eyes seem to weigh a lot because they're so big.
Well, his eyes actually take up 2/3 of his skull, and that means that one eyeball is actually larger than his brain. I'll leave it at that. If we compared it to a human, it would mean that we have eyes as large as grapefruit.
Grapefruits? Now here's another question.
What's the fastest bird alive?
Yeah, what is the fastest bird alive? Can you tell us, Tanya?
Yes, I can, and he is really fast.
Well, I'm really fast too. Hi.
Hi. Harrison, I'd like you to meet Julie, and this is Orion. He is a peregrine falcon. Orion can go up to 300 kilometers per hour in a dive when he's going after prey.
300 kilometers? That's faster than this, this, and this. So why does he have this hat?
Well, it's actually called a hood. And the thing about birds of prey is they're ultra fast, but they also see very, very well, up to 8 times better than people. So for him, having his eyes hidden right now means that he can stay calm, and it's also part of his training. So when the hood comes off, he's ready to go.
Orion, ready to fly?
So you stay here with me. Orion is actually so fast that he needs a large area to fly. So that means he needs all the room to stretch his wings and gain all his speed. And when he comes stooping and diving down, he's at high speed. So we want to make sure he has all the room. So Julie just took off the hood. So the first thing that he does is scope out where he wants to take off towards. And he loves to take off against the wind. So he's kind of looking at the wind, he's looking at his surroundings and getting engaged. And with a ruffle of his feathers, that means that he's ready to go. And he should be ready for takeoff. A little scratch to the head. Yep, definitely ready for takeoff.
The falcon flies at incredible speeds when it hunts. It rises high into the air, far above the other birds, and then dives at its prey. I like how those falcons fly, soaring on a breeze, not flapping at crazy speeds like those insects. Hey, I'm sort of like a falcon. I'm strong and light. I can soar if all I have to do is hold my wings out straight. All I need are some wings. The Flat Earth Corner! Hi, welcome to the 11th century. I'm Elmer, a monk at Malmesbury Abbey, and you're about to witness history. As you can see, I've made myself a set of wings, just like a bird. I'm gonna be the first human in the history of the world to fly by taking a running leap off the Abbey roof. Pretty smart, huh? Okay, here we go. One small step for monk, one giant leap for monk kind. Geronimo! I'm flying! I'm flying! I'm flying!
Oh, man. Elmer didn't become the world's first flying monk. He ended up going the distance of about a football field, but he crashed and was crippled for life. He just didn't know the science of flying. It took a few more centuries before people figured out how to build gliders that could actually keep a person in the air. We had to learn a little bit more about wings. Well, I could still dream about flying anyway. Finding out how bees and birds fly just proves that I can't. But there are other animals that can. Now here's a question Hanlon asked me to find the answer to.
How come pterosaurs can fly and little dinosaurs can't?
To answer your question, it's that pterosaurs weren't actually dinosaurs. They were flying reptiles. Now, you probably know that flying reptiles died millions of years ago, right?
Well, surprise! Here's Chrysopolia, better known as the flying snake. It's very much alive. It doesn't exactly fly, but it can glide. It does a kind of parachute jump by sucking in its belly to form a wing. By twisting from side to side, it can even control the direction it goes in. It can glide the length of a football field in one jump.
Flying snakes. I hope I never come across one of those. Here's another question from Tamara.
Does the flying fish really fly?
Almost.
Flying fish can fly by swimming really fast and then leaping into the air and spreading their fins like wings. That lets them get away from other fish that want to eat them. They can glide almost the length of a hockey rink. Some scientists believe that flying fish are evolving into true flyers.
Okay, To find out why humans can't fly, we've looked at insects, birds, even snakes, and fish. And the only mammal we've seen is the flying squirrel, which is really the gliding squirrel. But aren't there any mammals that can truly fly? Yes, there is one. It's a bat, a baseball bat. No, I'm just kidding, it's not a baseball bat. It's a real bat.
Like the flying squirrel, bats have stretched skin and an airfoil design that lets them glide. But what's different about bats is that their skin is part of a true wing. Bats flap their wings, making them true flyers. A flying mammal, yeah! Maybe there's hope for humans yet.
But just a cool-looking pair of bat wings is not enough. Although a bat may look big with its wings spread, they're actually quite light. The little brown bat is about the weight of this pen. And they still take a lot of energy to fly.
In the summer, the brown bat can eat its entire body weight in insects each night.
Excuse me. Yeah, aren't you glad you don't have to eat your own weight in bugs every night? Okay, so we found out a lot about what it takes to fly. We found out that snakes can parachute from trees, and fish can evolve wings, and even mammals can fly. So what about the amazing question that started this episode?
Why can't humans fly?
The big answer is... I found out that we just didn't evolve the things that we need to fly.
Let's see. First of all, you've got to have wings. Really big wings. To flap the wings, you've got to have powerful muscles on your thorax. But even then, you have to be really light. Okay, I'm starting to look like a bug now.
Never mind all that stuff. I'm going to try to fly, and you can try it with me.
Uh-oh. Do try this at home.
Okay, so after finding all that stuff out about wings, there's only one thing left to do, and that's to fly. Come on, keep that circular motion like a bee. Flap faster, faster! Okay, you can stop now. Ouch. Did you know bees and flies flap 200 times per second? And other insects flap up to 1,000 times per second. You'd have to flap at least this fast to get off the ground.
Birds do it, bees do it, even squirrels and fish do it, flying through the air, so why can't I? Bats do it, snakes do it, even some squids do it, flying through the air, so why can't I? No hollow bones or feathery wings, no stretchy skin, but I have these. Didn't evolve with these adaptions. We can't fly without contraptions. Without them, more herky-jerky, might as well be a frozen turkey.
We'd have to evolve so much to be able to fly. Maybe it's better that we evolved big brains instead. After all, our big brains helped us figure out how to fly in airplanes, helicopters, and rockets. Although, you might wonder if our brains really are that much bigger after you see this next clip.
These grown-ups have learned to glide by using special flight suits with stretchy material. They glide just like the flying squirrel does. But it's still a very dangerous activity.
Join me again next time on Finding Stuff Out, where I'll continue to investigate your questions. Check this out. Hey, they look like you. Hi, welcome to Finding Stuff Out. The show is simple. You ask, I find out. It's not rocket science, unless you ask a question about rockets. Then it is. Here's today's first question.
It's from Joy.
How come weather just changes to other weather, like first it's hot, then it's cold?
Yeah, what gives? Weather's always changing and I don't know why. But by the end of the show, I'll have the answer to your question. Along the way though, there'll be tornadoes, snow, hail, and if my dad doesn't fix the washing machine soon, maybe even a flood. I'm going to start the investigation with the question from Hanifa.
How could the sun be out in winter when it's cold?
Yeah, come on, son. Either you're hot or you're not. Pick a side. Pretend this light bulb is the sun. Now, lucky for you guys, I did some research on the subject. Now pretend this is the Earth, us. The Earth orbits around the sun.
The sun feels hotter in the summer because the part of the Earth you live on is tilted toward the sun. 6 months later, when the Earth has moved around to the other part of the sun, the part you live on is tilted away from the sun. So we can still see it, but we're not getting the full effects of the sun's rays. So it's not as hot. Next question.
How many kinds of snowflakes are there?
How many different ones? Let's see. They say no two snowflakes are alike. And they're only this big. I wonder how many fit in a teaspoon. Must be hundreds. But when it snows, there's so many of these, you need a shovel to clear a path. That must be millions. And then you need a snowplow to clear your streets. There must be billions, or trillions, or bajillions, or gazillions, or whatever they call a number that high, and...
You're gonna make my head explode!
I don't know if bajillion's a number, but there must be a bajillion different snowflakes out there. But seriously, nobody knows how many different snowflakes there are. But I can show you some of them up close with my super zoom-o-matic.
Check out these snowflakes. They all sort of have 6 sides. Weird. I'm not sure if they're different or the same though. So let's see.
Different, same. Oh wait, no, different. Forget it. I'd rather look at a bajillion snowflakes all at once than each flake one at a time, because that would mean snow day! Though I'm with Elizabeth on the next question.
Why can't it just be sunny all the time?
That would be amazing, Elizabeth. To figure it out, please welcome my special guest, TV weatherman, Frank Cavallaro.
Hey, Harrison, how's it going?
Hi, Frank. Welcome to my show.
Nice to be here.
Now, did you bring your thunder for the interview today?
No, but I got something else for you.
Oh.
Some snow.
Okay, so could we have sun all the time?
I don't think so, because there's always going to be some cloud cover around, so therefore it'll block the sun's rays.
So no permanent sun?
Actually, that's a good question. You know, there's going to be a time every year, I'm going to use the globe here, there's going to be a time every year for 6 months where the North Pole, as the Earth rotates, will have daylight for 6 months.
Well, I'm just going to move there.
No, hold on now. It doesn't mean it's going to be hot. But look at what happens 6 months later. The South Pole will get the sun, and the North Pole is dark for 6 months as the Earth rotates.
Living in darkness? I'll leave that to the mushrooms. Anyway, here's a question from Shakur.
My question is, why is there wind?
The short answer is 3 being chili. But seriously, I found out that the sun causes wind. The sun heats up the land and the air, which causes hot air to rise. Then cold air zooms in to take its place. Hey, I should make a song about this. It could be a rap. Hit it!
Yo, hot air goes up, cold air goes down. That's when we feel wind on the ground. It blows around leaves and sticks and twigs. It even blows off my grandpa's wig. Land heats fast and water slow. That changes how the wind will blow. Yeah, wind will go just where it needs, 'cause air heats up at different speeds.
All this talk about wind takes my breath away. Hey, that reminds me, I can make my own wind. See? Wind. You can measure the direction and the speed of the wind using something called a windsock. Frank will show us.
Uh-oh. Do try this at home.
Here, I brought this sock for you, Frank.
We're not here to measure smell. We're here to measure wind.
Well, I think you can also do it with a paper bag, so you can try this at home. Here, show us.
Okay, let's try this. I'm going to use a fan in this paper bag. This is a light breeze. Anything over 10, 11 kilometers an hour is a light breeze. But watch what happens if we get a gust of strong winds.
Whoa, it opened right up.
And this could cause damage to branches, trees, roofs, and your hair.
Not my hair. Yeah.
Yeah, your hair. So Harrison, you may have noticed that airports and helipads, they have these windsocks there. You know what they do?
Yeah, are they those orange things, right? I don't know what they are, though. What they do, I mean.
Well, most planes will land and take off against the wind.
Okay. So that means?
That means that they look at the windsock, and that tells them which runway to use as they're approaching the airport.
So a windsock is the airport's version of our paper bag.
That's right.
So I guess if a plane is landing, they'd be facing that way, right?
That's right.
They'd come down. Okay, so what can kids use this bag for outside?
Well, you can actually go in your backyard and take out a bag on a windy day and put up the bag, and it'll tell you how strong the winds are.
And which direction,
And which direction. And if there's no wind, then look what happens to the bag. It just dies.
Well, Frank, I just thought of another thing you can do with the paper windsock.
What's that?
Well, if you blow it up with air, and then you can make thunder. Here's another question. It's from Ben.
Where do clouds come from?
I looked it up, Ben, and I made this animation to show you where clouds come from.
So these water vapors in the air grab onto a piece of dust. And when a billion of their buddies do the same thing, we start to see them together as a cloud. The air up there is colder, so the cold air causes the water to condense. Then these drops crowd together like it's a huge party and start bumping into each other. As the droplets bump together, they form bigger and bigger droplets, and then when they're too heavy to float in the sky, they fall as rain. Here's a question from Chloe.
How do weather people know if it's gonna be sunny or not?
The Flat Earth Corner!
How does a weatherman in ancient Babylon know if it's going to be sunny or not tomorrow? Astrology, of course. If I look up in the heavens, I can see that the moon is in Virgo, in the 4th house. Jupiter is rising. That means I predict you're going to get good news, win friends, and influence poultry. Also, it's going to be sunny and mild. Mars is activating my 2nd solar house. This can't be happening! Maybe I should have dissected a chicken instead.
In ancient times, people used to use the stars and the planets to try to predict the weather. But it didn't always work out. So now we have high-tech equipment that helps us predict the weather accurately. Well, most of the time. Right, Frank?
Yeah.
I guess that's a sensitive topic for you. I mean, how do you predict the weather? Do you flip a coin?
No. We use radar, satellite, we have different data, computer models that show us the jet stream, the wind, systems that are developing. We put everything together, and that's how your forecast comes out.
How come with all this high-tech equipment, you still get the weather wrong sometimes?
Well, Harrison, you know, Mother Nature's always full of surprises. The weather can change drastically, very quickly.
How can the weather change so fast?
Things happen. The winds change direction, brings in colder air, temperatures drop, then the warmer air comes in, temperature goes up. It happens.
Wouldn't you be able to see the wind changing directions and stuff with all your fancy high-tech equipment?
Most of the time we do, but there are exceptions to the case where sometimes the weather just changes drastically that the computer did not pick up. But we're getting a lot better. We now have long-range forecasts. We can tell you the weather 6, 7, 8 days down the road. But I got to tell you, it's tough to do the weather sometimes, but it's fun presenting it.
Well, let's see how hard Frank's job really is with... Today, my contestants are Justin and Samantha. So today, you're going to be using your knowledge of wind, clouds, and forecasting to become TV weather forecasters. Think you can do it?
Yeah.
Okay then, Frank, please tell us how you do your job on TV.
Okay, guys, follow me. So this is where it all happens, guys.
It's all green in here.
Frank says he stands in front of a green wall when he presents the weather on TV. That's because there's a technical process that takes all the green out of the picture so he can put any kind of background behind us. Like this, or if you're a TV weather person, a map.
This is a clicker, by the way. Every time I press on this, a different map goes on. It could be a radar, a satellite, whatever I want to show. This advances my map, so it's all computerized.
So let's show the kids at home. They see a map behind us right now, right?
That's right. They see a map, and when I click, the map will change. And you point.
Okay, let's do the challenge. Here's a map of the world. I'm going to be telling you different weather conditions, and your mission is to try and predict the weather and where it will occur. Now, there are 5 different weather icons: sun, snow, rain, cloud, and wind.
And I'll be asking you where to place the specific icon to a corresponding city. But here's the catch. The viewers at home will see the map. You won't see the map. You're going to have to use that monitor.
It's just like how Frank does his weather forecast. Your goal is to make as few mistakes as possible.
Okay, Samantha, you're up first. Justin, you can go downstairs and have some milk and cookies with my mom.
Yes, I got the fresh ones.
Leave some for us, though.
Maybe.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, first question. Water droplets have formed giant heavy clouds over London. What's going to happen?
Oh, Samantha's going for the rain icon. Not wasting any time.
Yeah, that's it. Good job. Okay.
Next question. The hot air over Thunder Bay is rising and cold air is moving in. Go.
Samantha's grabbed the wind icon. Oh, she's close. Not quite. Yes, she's got it.
Okay. Treble cone is in the southern hemisphere, and it's July.
Well, Samantha's found the southern hemisphere, but can't seem to locate treble cone. And is that the right icon?
No,
that's not it.
It's not right.
That one's a little hard.
What happens in the northern hemisphere in July?
It becomes hot.
What happens in the southern hemisphere in July?
It becomes cold. Oh.
There you go.
That's correct. It's snowing.
Okay. Water vapor is condensing over Beijing. Go ahead.
Samantha's going for the rain icon again.
No.
I'll read the question again. Water vapor is condensing over Beijing. What's happening?
Clouds.
There you go.
There you go. Perfect. And that's it. Okay, Samantha, you're done. We'll send you downstairs for some milk and cookies, and now we'll bring Justin up and see how he does. Okay, Justin, now you're up. The first question is, water droplets have formed giant heavy clouds over London. What's going to happen?
Justin wastes no time in grabbing the rain icon.
That's right.
Next question. The hot air over Thunder Bay is rising and cold air is moving in. Go.
Justin's checking out the monitor to see where Thunder Bay is.
No. Yep, there you go. That's it. Okay, treble cone is in the southern hemisphere, and it's July.
Justin also going straight for the sun.
No.
Wrong icon.
Nope.
Listen to the question carefully.
Treble cone is in the southern hemisphere. It's July.
Justin's going for the rain icon. Oh, but he changes his mind.
There you go, that's it.
Final question. Water vapor is condensing over Beijing. What's it going to be?
Justin's got the cloud icon, but where's Beijing? And Justin's found it.
All right.
And now we'll get Samantha and announce the winner. Samantha, you can come up now. Okay, and the winner is Justin.
Yes.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Good job, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now we have a question from Max.
Why are tornadoes dangerous if they're just air?
Yeah, how is air dangerous? I mean, I can just push it with my hands.
Well, Harrison, air could be dangerous. When the pressure starts going up and down drastically in a short period of time, it can cause some serious damage. I want to do a little demonstration on a tornado.
Okay.
And of course, tornadoes can cause some serious damage, as we all know. Look at that. The wind speed of tornadoes sometimes could hit over 400 kilometers an hour, over 250 miles an hour.
Whoa.
And the thing with tornadoes, they don't give you a lot of time to get away. They just pop up because the pressure goes down, the pressure goes up, and this is what happens. And that's why tornadoes are very, very dangerous.
That's crazy. Now to find out how dangerous tornadoes really are, let's talk to George Coronas, who's a real live storm chaser. He's out chasing storms as we speak. Hello, George. I see you're out in some terrible weather. You could catch a cold out there, you know?
Harrison, as a storm chaser, catching a cold is the least of my worries.
So first of all, I think the kids at home probably want to know, what is a storm chaser?
Well, what I do is I try to get up close to the most dangerous part of the storm and then send in my reports so that people downstream of the storm can get those reports and hopefully save a few lives.
That sounds pretty risky. Why are tornadoes so dangerous?
Well, it certainly can be dangerous. It's not so much that the wind is blowing, it's what the wind is blowing. Pieces of debris, which could be branches, bricks, cars, sometimes even houses.
Wow.
So have you ever been inside of a tornado?
I have actually been inside a tornado once before with debris flying around. It's a very, very scary experience, one that I don't want to do again.
How'd you end up being right inside of a tornado and stuff?
Well, sometimes a tornado will change its path. I'll be tracking the storm and it will change direction, and sometimes I have to get out of the way. It's a force of nature. It can be very unpredictable at times.
So what technology do you use to help you chase?
Well, I've got all kinds of technology here in my storm chase vehicle. I've got my laptop computer that has satellite and radar imagery. I've got all my radios that I can use to send my reports in to the National Weather Service. GPS, all kinds of gadgets. It's basically a mobile command center on wheels.
So I'm pretty sure everybody watching wants to know, where do you go to the bathroom when you're chasing storms?
When you're on a storm, Harrison, anywhere you can. Anywhere you can.
That's a little awkward.
Sometimes it is. There's not a lot of trees out in Kansas, so you just have to find a place, and it's not always easy.
Do you get any adrenaline going when you're chasing the storms?
Absolutely, it's a bit of an adrenaline rush, especially when you're up close to a tornado, when the wind speed can be several hundreds of kilometers per hour. I'd be lying if I didn't say that I got some kind of adrenaline rush out of it.
Do you have to ever, drive away or, run away from storms or tornadoes?
There's been numerous times where I've had to get out of the path of a tornado to turn tail and flee. I try to do a dangerous thing in as safe a manner as possible.
Yeah.
Oh, looking at the radar right now, it looks like I might have a developing tornado on the horizon.
Are you gonna go out and chase that right now?
Yeah, it looks like I'm gonna have to blast west here. I have a developing tornado.
Wow.
Hold on, let me get the radio here. Yeah, this is George K. relaying a message. It looks like we might have a tornado forming just to my west. I'm gonna try and intercept and get closer. Harrison, I gotta go.
Well, thanks for being on the show, George. It was great to have you, and I guess you have to go chase this storm.
Okay, I'm headed straight for the tornado. Stay in touch.
Okay, be safe. Bye. Whew. George sure does love his scary weather. Speaking of scary weather, here's a question from Samantha.
Why does hail hurt so much?
Ah, hail. The snowball's angry cousin. Usually a raindrop grows until it's too heavy, and then it will fall to the ground. Matter of fact, let's check back in with my buddy, the raindrop.
Hail is created when the raindrops, instead of falling down, get blown further up to colder air. The raindrops freeze into ice, get bounced around by the wind, and get bigger and bigger until they get too heavy and fall.
This means that instead of having a gentle drop of rain, you have a painful ball of ice. Ah! It's like waking up in the middle of a snowball fight. Watch these clips that George sent us!
On George's last storm chase in Nebraska, he found hailstones as big as baseballs.
Man, weather is no joke. I've found out a lot about weather, so I think it's time to answer
Joy's question that started today's episode.
How come weather just changes to other weather, like first it's hot, then it's cold?
The big answer is... there's lots of reasons.
The tilting of the earth changes the seasons. Wind blows when the sun heats up the air. Water vapor forms clouds, and clouds block the sun.
But there's no clouds here today, so I'm gonna go outside and enjoy the beautiful day. See you next time for more Finding Stuff Out.